Hi, we're Boyfriend EXE, and today we're going to talk about Zayne.
With Zayne's third myth looming on the horizon, lovelies are in a frenzy trying to predict what's coming. I can't wait to see what they do with Zayne next. Master of Fate and Foreseer have such strong aesthetics and romantic storylines, and I'm expecting the third myth to be even more tragic and beautiful.
We wanted to go over our personal favorite theories with you and cover some of the speculation we've seen online.
Before we dive into themes, let's talk about combat. Zayne has two myths already. Foreseer is defense-focused with a wand, while Master of Fate uses a sword with an attack focus.
That means we'll probably get something different for this myth, right? Like, guns could be fun. People really want better crowd control, too.
I really hope that it is guns and not the two-handed sword, because so far they haven't repeated any weapons, but nobody wants the two-handed sword. It's way too difficult to use, so I really hope it's guns.
My hot take is that it has to be guns because they're not going to do back-to-back big sword. And no, I guess Xavier's had a wand.
Xavier himself had the sword.
Yeah, MC had the wand.
Because, hang on, Silas cannot have big sword because his first myth had big sword, so Zayne is getting big sword.
No,
Somebody
I hate
should have
this.
Double daggers. Double daggers.
I don't want big sword.
Double daggers
Double
is not a
something.
real weapon.
Why not?
Well, that's not true. Rafayel does have daggers.
Here.
Yeah, but not for MC.
Zayne could have double daggers. Enough about weapon. Stellactrum colors. That's always a hot topic. Based on the chart we have here, that myth have been releasing with their primary, secondary, third Stellactrum colors in a consistent pattern. So, like, if we look at Xavier, Lightseeker is green, and that matches so far. Lumiere, that's yellow, matches up. And then the most recent King of Dark Knight does stay consistent with that pattern. Rafayel, same deal. We've got Abysswalker, purple. Dot of Tides, I wish I had, pink. And then Lemurian Sea God, yellow.
The sad little locked screen for the...
I got a lot of those.
That's so
I know.
sad.
It is
so
sad. And then Silas and Caleb, they only have two, but they still follow the pattern with pink and green, and then red and then purple. So Zayne, presumably, will continue to follow this pattern. So Foreseer was blue, Master of Fate red, which means the third one is very likely to be pink. So
we got
hopefully
science
somebody's happy.
No, we've had a lot of pink memories recently. I'm not sure if anybody really wants more pink memories, but
have
I don't
does seem to be pretty
five-star
consistent.
memories.
No one wants pink memories. No love interest needs more pink memories.
I need God of Tides, which is a pink memory. Anyway, this is very likely to be pink. So, based on that,
I know.
boom.
I always auto-equip, so I don't know if I care about the colors.
Okay.
So,
don't.
what do we think the actual story or aesthetic is going to be for the new myth, though?
Yeah, that's the
Let's
fun
get
part.
into it. I am ready to dive into this. I have a lot of things prepared. So, my first hot take theory. Zayne is Astra. This theory is a little bit controversial. As evidenced by Zayne's connection to Dawnbreaker, hear me out. We're gonna get there. We know that Zayne is actively connected to all of his other selves at once, whether he is conscious of them or not. So we see hints of Dawnbreaker and Zayne slipping into each other's lives throughout the story. Our current version of Zayne sort of just thinks that Dawnbreaker is a nightmare. In the newest chapter of the game, Death and Rebirth, it's not entirely clear at several points if we're even talking to the Zayne that we know, or if Dawnbreaker has taken control of his body. Very spooky. Did you guys notice that?
No.
No? You don't know?
No.
No.
I'm so behind.
So, at the end of Death and Rebirth, they leave us on a cliffhanger where Zayne leaves the city in pursuit of stopping Ever from developing immortality. Dawnbreaker is from an alternate future years after the current storyline. And this is important to this theory because he is able to reach Zayne through time and space. All the Zaynes in different timelines, Foreseer, Master of Fate, Dawnbreaker, and our current Dr. Zayne are implied to be existing parallel to each other across time and space, and his relationship with the main character is the core thread that binds all of them together. So,
So
I'm getting there.
It's a very lengthy
can.
journey we're taking to get
Yes.
there, but we are getting there.
You need to go through the whole journey to
Times.
thoroughly understand this theory. We can reasonably expect that just like Dawnbreaker, alternate versions of Zayne sometimes slip through the cracks and interact with each other. Astra is omnipotent and faceless, which makes him mysterious. We don't know who this guy is. It isn't even clear
Is he
if Zayne
even a
has
guy?
physically met Astra. We don't know. That's a good question. Is he even a god? But
I
we know
think-
that Astra... What?
Hang on, is Astra a man?
Astra is referred to as he, I'm pretty sure.
I've
But
always
it-
assumed Astra was a woman because Astra is a woman's name typically.
I mean, I refer to my water bottle as he. Maybe it's a French thing. Oh no, une bouteille.
Maybe
What?
Astra's
Astra
French
is a
pronoun
water
gender is.
Who knows?
Well, we don't know Astra's gender for sure, or if Astra is a water bottle. But we do know that Astra can interact with Zayne by using the same ice evol to harm him.
It's rolling.
We see Zayne pierced by Astra's ice as a punishment for looking into MC's fate. Does black ice sound familiar to anyone?
Why it gotta
No.
be black?
Yeah, isn't there a song where Jesus takes the wheel? And I'm pretty sure that has to do with a patch of black ice.
When you
Oh.
drive
No!
on black ice and Jesus appears.
I thought that was about making bad decisions.
I don't know. I always just associated it with black.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
do
know, have you
something
ever hit
stupid and
black
you're like,
ice while
"Jesus,
you're
take the
driving?"
wheel."
Well, I'll tell you about black ice.
Oh.
Look at this. Who is this using a black ice attack to pierce his enemies? Astra's motivations are entirely unclear, but what we do know is that Astra is aware that MC's existence is aberrant, and that if she is allowed to live, she will bring about the end of the universe. Because of this, Zayne is forbidden from interacting with her, and Astra purposefully locks Zayne's memories of her away in jasmine flowers to keep him from growing attached to her. In Dawnbreaker's reality, he's already killed his MC, but he still lives in a world overrun by wanderers, and his only purpose in life is to kill people before they can become wanderers. It's interesting that Dawnbreaker's ice appears very similar to Astra's. Dawnbreaker uses spears of black ice against his enemies, but the same black ice still creeps across his skin when he experiences his evil backlash. Foreseer Zayne blames this black ice on Astra, but we haven't heard Dawnbreaker mention Astra at all when it comes to the ice. So, that begs the question. Is Astra a god who has given Zayne some of his powers to use, meaning that Zayne's ice evol is something that could be bestowed on anyone chosen by Astra? Or are their powers the same because becoming Astra is Zayne's ultimate fate?
Whoa.
Dun dun dun.
At this point, have we established how other characters have their evol, or is this so far everyone just kind of has it?
I think the evols are all different. Like, I think Raphael's has to do with him being Lemurian. Xavier is from an entirely different planet, and it's related to that. I don't think there's any, like, concrete way that people get an evol. But my main issue with this theory is I don't think that if Zayne is Astra, they're gonna do it on the third myth. I think that's, like, end of days for the game, end story reveal.
Ooh, end game. I could see that. If that's his ultimate fate, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That
like, I
could
think
be
they'll
it.
do a bunch of other myths, and then eventually, that'll be Zane's last myth is Astra, if they want to eventually reveal that.
Well,
If they go
also,
beyond
so
3.
far, well, if we go beyond 3, but the thing too is, like, with the myths at this point, they seem kind of in the past, and this theory would lean towards a myth from the future, right?
It would.
Yeah, it does feel like an all-encompassing, connecting all of the dots end game thing. But I like
It would
it.
I think
definitely be, yeah.
If they did do this, I think it would be where all of the myths that year are future myths. So I would assume for 3, it's likely to still be a past.
But we've talked a lot about another theory, haven't we, Astra?
Yes. We did. Sorry, I was thinking about the jasmine flowers, and did you know, quick fun fact before we change this topic, jasmines in like Mandarin is pronounced similar to the word for don't leave, which is super cute because if that's where like Astra puts the memories of MC. Anyways, very cute.
Aw.
I like flower stuff. Moving on. A lot of theories have stuff about the Greek gods. Like, I think Silas is Hades, and you can link Raphael to Poseidon.
So I think this photo of Zayne is interesting. It's from a trailer that he's had. There's two statues on either side of him. The one on the left is obviously Hades because he has the little bident there, which is very classic for Hades to have. The goddess on the right of the picture is a little harder to identify. So it's clearly like a female shape, and she's holding some kind of cup or a bowl. I believe Rose kept saying that it looked like she was dipping a nugget into sauce.
I mean, it does. In other angles.
So
when you're
she
right,
could
you're
be Hebe, who's cupbearer to the gods, but paired with Hades, the most obvious association here is that this is Persephone.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I think one really cool detail is if you roll it back to the close-up on the Hades statue. So what you can see here is like there's no vines on Hades. But the woman's statue that is across from him does have vines. And what's really interesting about that is the vines, unlike in the scene otherwise, are green. So that reinforces the Persephone theory. The other thing that's a little bit interesting is that, going back to the Hades statue again, the bident specifically, like Hades has a lot of different depictions, and the bident is really interesting because it connects so heavily to Pluto. So like taking the Roman flavor of Greek mythology, because as you can see, the Pluto symbol there is based on the bident. But what's interesting about the Pluto aspect of this is if we look at this kind of from a Roman perspective instead of a Greek perspective, when we flip back to viewing the other statue, there's an image here because, like Merlot mentioned, there's some kind of cup bowl thing. And in a lot of depictions of Prosperina, which is the kind of like the Roman equivalent of Persephone, there is this like little incense bowl that appears, and then also, of course, like the pomegranate. But it's possible that maybe the bowl is incense, and that kind of gives a different flavor to this, but still in that parallel realm of Roman versus Greek mythology. If Silas is Hades, and Persephone could possibly be MC, it could bring about a third person, where we know that the love interests don't overlap, but it kind of is interesting that Zayne is between these two characters.
Him being between Hades and Persephone is like between life and death, which is a lot of his theming as like a doctor being the person who is in between those two people.
Which, if we go even a little bit deeper on it, maybe, you know, the Hades and the Persephone statues are irrelevant, right? But especially talking about the in-between life and Hades being often misrepresented as the god of death, which he's not death, he just rules over the underworld. This could mean that maybe Zayne being in between is more representative of Thanatos, who is actually the personification of death.
Ooh, that's
There's
a
lots
good
of
take.
possibilities.
Interesting.
Because
I like it.
So,
because Hades is not technically death, so he could be Thanatos. Hades is more just like the
He's
ruler
the manager
of the realm of the dead.
He's the supervisor.
He
of
manages
death.
Zayne.
Yeah.
He's the
He's in
mayor of
charge.
town.
Does anyone else have theories on like this god-related stuff?
Hell yeah, I do. Hell yeah. Get it? Anyways. I don't know if this is gonna be a hot take. I'm still fairly new to the game, and I'm not making as much time for it as I should. But I do like to theorize, so this is my hot take as, could Zayne's new myth be inspired by Demeter? this super well-made slide will show you my first evidence. My slide is very organic, as you can tell.
It's
Look,
beautiful.
pictures. Pictures, thank you. On the top, we have the winter side of Demeter because she is grieving because her spring is gone. That would be Persephone. And at the bottom, look who else is personified with by winter. It would be Dr. Zayne. And then also, who is a professional? Dr. Zayne. And also Demeter as, the goddess of agriculture. But also she's known as, like, kind of life and death in certain ways. Her cosmic duties involve, like, keeping life going by providing food and sustenance. But once upon a time, she was also a different kind of earth goddess, one that ruled over burial rites and kind of life and death, the two sides of the coin. And what else they have in common? They are both motherly. Very, like, Demeter is a mother, Zayne has motherly instincts.
Clearly.
What's that thing about the socks that
He
Merlot
tells
likes
you to
to
wear
bring
your
up?
socks.
Yeah.
He does tell you to put your
Zayne
socks
doesn't want
on.
your feet to get cold.
Yeah, and
No,
who else
that's how you
says
get
that?
sick.
Says stuff like that? Ya mom. Ya mom says that. And they both go through a tragic loss. Demeter with Persephone, obviously, and I haven't watched his tragic memories, but I know, like, some sad stuff happens with the MC.
I mean, he perpetually loses MC in this way, which is similar.
So sad. Yeah.
Going back to the
Sad
Persephone.
/ glum?
Yeah.
Question mark.
Yeah, see, that's the key point. I like
Yeah,
that one. They both look
exactly.
slightly dejected,
sad.
and that's really what's most important.
Angsty, perhaps? Who knows? For my next slide, I have further evidence. Look at me thinking real hard. On one side, we have a classic portrait of Demeter with her hands up, be like, "Why are you taking my daughter?" And then Persephone's like, "Mother!" And then Hades is like, "I'm taking her." Which is similar to Silas taking MC. We've done this comparison before. And obviously, like, we have mentioned just briefly ago, that obviously, like, the love interest are kind of separate.
I think that still fits because the main storyline is still canon for all of them. It's the romantic memories that are separate. So even in Zayne's story, it is still canon that MC was taken by Silas.
Aha.
So they do intertwine in that way at the very least.
Yeah. And even if you don't know Silas that well and haven't played any of his memories, doesn't he look like a Mr. Steal Your Girl? Tell me I'm wrong.
Yes,
This
he
isn't
does.
about him.
I know, but
This
he
is
looks
now
like
about
Mr. Steal Your
Silas.
Girl.
We're moving into
Get him
Silas'
outta
third
here.
myth predictions.
Oh no, not yet, not yet.
His third myth is Mr. Steal Your Girl. There you go.
There we
Oh,
go.
Mr.
You
Steal Your
heard it here.
Girl.
Astra reveals it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we move on, another kind of stretch on the theory. I had to do some research on my own because this is not something I remembered from my high school Greek history class, which I did take. So Demeter's parents are Cronus, which is daddy time, and then Rhea, which is also kind of an earth goddess, or rather a titan, and she represents motherhood. Really made me like what stood out to me in his last birthday myth that I watched is like he's like, I wish I could just stop time, and I'm like, well, maybe you could. And now I'm like, oh wait, hold on, what if he could? Because his father could. Not really, but it's a stretch. And then again with the motherliness. Anyways, moving on to what I think the next myth would actually be based on this evidence. So the origin of how, like, we know the story of Persephone having to come back in order to bring about spring and summer and then going back to hell afterwards is that Demeter came to a compromise with Zeus that Persephone would have to share her time between both realms. And that kind of had me thinking about how Zayne and all his lives are kind of connected in this kind of back and forth, these transitions, a kind of cycle. It made me kind of think, oh, these are a little bit similar. What if the next myth is kind of an origin where there's this compromise, where we see Zayne not like as the Doctor we know him, maybe not even as a human being, but just like, I don't know, like an employee of Astra. Just he poofed into existence because Astra was like, well, I need help doing my job, so here's a henchman. Sorry, I don't want to call Zayne a henchman. I know people might be mad about
No,
that,
no.
but
I mean,
okay.
it's possible. It's possible.
Maybe
Slandering
guardian is a
Zayne.
better word. Yeah.
Just
So, like,
a
what if
lowly
it's-
henchman.
Yeah. Because, like, if we're sticking to stories from the past, what if it's the origin where it's his very first meeting with MC? And he's like, oh, you know, I'm not a human being, but I suddenly have all these feelings in the center of whatever this vessel is, you know, because he's not, you know, fully human yet. And then uh MC tragically dies, you know, as she does. And then Zayne, he's like, oh my god, I can't do my job anymore. I'm so sad, you know, just like Demeter. And then Astra's like, well, I need you to do your job, because if not, like, everything is out of balance and chaos. Just like Zeus was like, Demeter, everyone is starving. Please get back to work.
I could actually see this. I really
Thank
like
you.
that idea. I think your henchman is such, like, it sounds mean, but
Guardian.
honestly, that is kind of what he is in his 2 current myths. He is bound to Astra's will. He has to do whatever Astra wants, and MC always gets in the way of that, which is why
Uh-huh.
Astra doesn't like it. So an origin story like this would be really beautiful, I think.
I think it would be nice. And it's like MC always gets in the way, and like when Persephone leaves, there's always a winter, you know? Like the symbolism is there, so I feel like there's inspiration, and obviously Infold is not going to copy paste a whole story. So I think there's some inspiration there, and the compromise was that Zayne could be a human being and reincarnate at the same time as MC, but he had to keep doing his job, which he does, right? So
It's a pretty solid theory. I do
Yay.
think that there is a Greek god that suits him more.
oh yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
back to the end of Depth's memory artwork, you can see that he has the Hermetical staff. So that's the staff that Hermes would typically have. Hermes is a messenger for the gods, much like Zayne is a messenger for Astra. And he was also like a psychopomp who brought souls from the real world down into the underworld for Hades. So the same way that Dawnbreaker kills people right before they turn into wanderers to send their souls to heaven before they're a monster, Hermes also ferried souls, so there's similarities there. But the staff, I think, is the biggest giveaway that he's connected possibly to Hermes, if any Greek god.
Yeah, and a lot of people
I like how
confuse it
Merlot
with-
is focusing on the staff.
Yeah, a lot of people confuse it with Asclepius' staff, but the difference is the number of snakes. There's only one on Asclepius', I believe, and then there's 2 on Hermes, right?
That's right, yeah. Hermes has 2.
How many snakes does Zayne's staff have?
2.
2.
Wait, how many on
Two
Hermes' staff?
intertwining
2.
Oh, I thought you said there was a missing snake. I was like, where?
Are we on Sesame Street? Is this the count?
I can't count. Someone help.
So
many
Asclepius'
snakes on
staff
Snakes.
is the one snake staff.
Actually, I think
If it-
that this entire time Zayne has just been inspired by the count. He's so sad
count.
because
No!
we never give him the chance to count in any of his memories.
It's true. Is at some point, right? Zayne here, he says that if humans had wings, that they wouldn't grow from the shoulders. Now, if you look at this lovely picture of Hermes, you can clearly see that there are lots of wings, none of which are on the shoulders. So maybe
Maybe.
he would have some wings,
Maybe.
but maybe they'll be on his head. Probably on his feet, because we know Zayne likes to run, and that might be something that will make him speedier.
Oh. In fact, I have a little bit to say about Zayne running.
Running into your arms, perhaps?
Yes. Did you know that Hermes is also the god of athletes? And Zayne has had multiple cards that highlight his athleticism. He's noted to be good at snowboarding, surfing, and running so far, and is actually really passionate about sports. It's kind of cute. I noticed
Go
recently
sports.
that they have been calling more and more attention to this. It wasn't in a lot of his earlier cards, but you do have a snowboarding memory with him pretty early on. Zayne is surprisingly kind of like the sportiest of the love interests, which goes against his like stoic doctor trope. but he really likes to win at sports and uses physical activity as a way to de-stress. But while we're talking about Hermes, I wanted to note some other parallel details that I noticed.
What is that?
What is that indeed?
What is that?
So the four-seer myth also introduces a special species of bird called an arctichion. Zayne treats the arctichions as super precious to him, and their migratory path goes right by the Tower of Secrets where four-seer lives. In a later memory, he notes that the arctichions have exceptional memories and recall people for eons. So these birds are very mysterious, but they seem to be linked to him in some way. Hermes could be consulted for guidance through the flight and call of birds. So I don't think Four-Seer's relationship with these birds is necessarily a coincidence. Only seers who worked with Hermes could tell birds of omens from normal birds and interpret their messages from the heavens. Very spooky. Can he speak to the birds? Who knows?
What if that bird on the right is what Astra looks like?
Well, we're about to hear about the bird on the right shortly. I will tell you about that bird. So Zayne is pretty aggressive. Yeah.
We should talk more about the bird on the left.
What do you want to know about this bird?
I like him.
One,
he's so
can
round.
he fly? He is so
round.
Actually,
unclear.
He's
unclear.
He's full of mystery.
Do
He's
you
full
think
of secrets.
we are gonna get round bird Zayne as his next myth?
Absolutely
Is he gonna
not.
be as round as a bird?
I reject
Actually,
round
There was
birds.
a
You'll
round pie in his last memory.
No, we're not going to get round bird Zayne because he can't have feathers.
Oh, it's true. It's illegal. It's illegal.
Unless
for anyone
they're
to have
on
feathers.
his feet.
He can only have feet feathers.
But going back to the bird on the right, which I really want to tell you about because this is really interesting. Zayne is aggressively against the concept of seeking immortality, and it's possible that his distress with this concept comes from experience. Four-seer notes that Astra is the only thing that can kill Zayne. He cannot die unless Astra allows him to die. He's immortal, no injury can end him, no torture will end him, only Astra can kill Zayne. There is a popular quote that references both Hermes and immortality from the 15th century alchemical text called the Ripley Scroll. The phrase, "The bird of Hermes is my name, eating my wings to make me tame," is in reference to the process of making the Philosopher's Stone. And to stay in Astra's good graces, Zayne has to use his immortality only in Astra's service, interpreting his will through the flights of birds, the weather, the books in Astra's library. If Zayne exists between life and death, as we saw with the statues and his other positioning in both of his previous myths, if he is endless and all-consuming in nature, eating his own wings to keep him tame and beneath Astra, does that make him parallel to Hermes' alchemical phoenix? Perhaps a phoenix myth to tie in with Hermes?
Hold on. Let's look at the phrase, "The bird of Hermes is my name, eating my wings to make me tame."
I was just gonna say that sounds like a Fall Out Boy lyric.
A song.
It does.
It sounds like a Fall Out Boy song. But you know what else that sounds like? Very similar to the concept of dipping a nugget into a sauce.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh! It all comes back
What
around.
do you mean?
That statue is perhaps a little wing getting dipped in a little sauce.
Oh, a
And
chicken
a little
wing.
nugget of sauce.
Yeah.
Chicken wing. A chicken wing.
Yeah.
Nah.
You know
Eating
what?
my
This
wing.
might be. We might get like a devil as a part-timer experience where
my
Zayne
God.
actually goes to work at McDonald's.
You know,
I
wait,
do
wait,
not
wait.
want McDonald's Zayne myth.
This is making
Don't
sense.
you want to
though.
see him in a
Zayne myth.
uniform?
You know the
He'll get
only
a
character
uniform.
who knows Zayne in the lore, right? Oh, I guess Silas. Does Silas know Zayne in the lore? I thought it was
No,
just
I
Caleb.
think-
Okay,
Does
it is
Caleb
just
have
Caleb.
the same doctor
You know
as MC?
You know what Caleb loves to make?
What?
Chicken wings. It's his specialty.
Really?
Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh.
Fried chicken
They're
wings.
coming
Every
together
time I
now.
talk to him,
No.
he's always like, "I will fry you up some chicken wings to keep him
Like the
tame."
chick.
Caleb's not the chicken.
No,
Wait,
Caleb's not the chicken. He cooked Zayne.
Zayne's the chicken.
Now, I do have another question. If Zayne is immortal, why does he get killed every time I bring him into battle and kicks me out of the battle? Can he be a little bit better at being immortal, please?
He's not dying. He's just fainting.
You shut up.
He's taking a nap.
Zayne literally dies every battle I take him into. I've
It's
never
so
had
true.
Silas die
This
on me.
sounds like a skill problem.
I have to bring the staff just to heal him. Isn't that his job?
So, the last thing I will leave you with about the Ripley scroll is that it goes a bit further on in the text, and I thought this part was interesting, especially considering the image we have of Zayne flanked by the 2 stone statues. So the Ripley scroll reads, "When all his feathers be from him gone, he standeth still here as a stone." This sounds pretty cryptic, doesn't it? Still as a stone.
Well, I think it sounds like, when you eat a chicken, you take all their feathers off, and then they're dead. So
And then you can make chicken wings.
Can you defeather a chicken and they not be dead?
I don't think they would like that.
I don't know. They probably wouldn't like it. It would be nicer to do
Tiger is
it.
out here advocating for animal cruelty.
Oh my god.
I'm just wondering. I mean, Zayne can't die.
Birds of a feather.
I think this is going to be a chicken nugget myth.
I really want the McDonald's collab, please.
It's not going to be McDonald's. It's going to be
Wickdonald's.
Whack-Donald's.
Didn't Genshin do a collab for,
maybe.
What was it, KFC or something like that? So, like, it's possible.
Jasmine, do you have any other theories about what the myth will be about?
Well, I literally just talked your ears off about Dawnbreaker a minute ago, but I just really can't get over him. I keep thinking about him. There's a lot we don't know about Dawnbreaker, and they keep teasing how important he is. I don't think this is likely because it's not flashy enough, but it would be super cool if Zayne's third myth was just Dawnbreaker. I just want to see more
Dawnbreaker?
Oh my god.
Dawnbreaker.
I've been waiting to make that joke this whole evening. I've been waiting for that.
This is a fool's hope. There's already a Dawnbreaker companion. They're not just gonna make a new Dawnbreaker myth with the same companion.
What about Dustbringer?
Dawnbreaker.
Let's go.
Dawnbreaker, Dustbringer. No matter what turn the story takes, we're fairly certain that the aesthetic will remain Chinese inspired. All the love interests so far have stuck to the same kind of style, and we don't think that'll change now.
Yeah, I really don't think that they're gonna diverge from Zayne having Chinese-inspired outfits. If you look at Rafayel, all his outfits feel like they're almost from the same movie. And it's the same where Caleb is always leaning kind of sci-fi, and Zayne has leaned Chinese in both his previous myths. I think he's gonna keep more traditional Chinese clothes and aesthetic no matter what the myth ends up being. So we're not gonna see him, like, dressed in Greek robes as Hermes or Demeter. He's still going to have the same sort of outfits and styling.
It'll just be inspired.
I hope they throw us, like, the biggest curveball ever, and it's, like, a freaking
Chicken
Wild West chicken nugget Zayne.
Wild wings.
One thing that we can be pretty certain of is that he's going to have long hair. I think, personally, I would be very surprised if they don't give him long hair the same way they did for Raph and Xavier.
Yeah. Pretty long hair would be good. Well, some other theories we've seen floating around include things like Zayne being the Grim Reaper, Zayne being a fallen angel, Zayne being Santa Claus, or the Abominable Snowman, or even an Elsa-inspired fairy tale myth. No matter what the myth is, I'm super excited and I'll be pulling for it. I hope it's as strong as Lemurian Sea God at the very least. I'm really jealous of all the Raph mains who got a really strong myth. So look out for our video when I pull for him, and I hope I don't cry trying to get him. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.